Salamat. We are entering a period where the ancient families have risen in importance among the Earth allies. They are presently in charge of a number of very sensitive negotiations. The purpose of these talks is to cement the conditions for the final surrender of the Dark Cabal. Once these agreements are in place, arrests at the highest level are to commence, and the Dark Cabal's terms are to bow out in a degree of ceremony. This process is one which our negotiators know well. This surrender is not about wealth, it is about surrendering power held by them for millennia. Long ago, the Anunnaki chose them as special minions. In this capacity, these groups of individuals acted as the conduit for a tremendous amount of power. This cabal now erroneously sees this power as a right. In fact, it was a privilege given to them by the Anunnaki. The time is now overdue for them to give it up. These talks are to assure that this happens as swiftly and as easily as possible. This formal surrender is to permit a global currency reset, gold-backed currencies and new governance. Many Western governments and their financial-based handlers understand that a new reality needs to be birthed. This operation is to allow for a global jubilee and permit the worldwide prosperity and humanitarian programs to fund. This operation is to assure that a new reality begins to manifest. Heaven intended for this to happen about a decade and a half ago. However, the Cabal was able to carry out 9/11, which forced our Earth allies to regroup. These vile acts permitted the Cabal to regain the upper hand. We were not allowed by Heaven to go beyond a number of preconditions. These restrictions are to be fully rescinded when disclosure is announced by a number of major governments. Until then, the Agarthans and us are limited to a series of do's and don'ts. The Ascended Masters Quan and Count Saint Germain are carefully watching what is happening. We expect these talks to be successful, and a schedule for a formal transfer of power is actually quite close. Once disclosure occurs, we can make announcements and truly start new operations, permitting us to complete more missions in open daylight. At that point, our ships are to begin to take a first wave of interested individuals to our motherships, where we will conduct a general tour, along with a time where we can begin a dialogue about the actual coming of people's mentors. We are using this time to get you more familiar with us. After the landings, our interaction is to increase immensely. This final period is to allow you to also become more familiar with the Agarthans. When Atlantis attacked Lemuria, the Agarthans were temporarily cut off from the surface realms. Atlantis used this time to make itself the dominant land on Gaia's surface realm. This dominance was to last until Atlantis was destroyed some 13 millennia ago. The Atlanteans fled to Centaurus and you were left with new masters, the Anunnaki. These beings stayed in charge until the peace with the Anshara Continuum in the mid-1990s. The present time is one in which the final surrender is being negotiated, even as the Cabal somehow attempts mischief to alter their present dilemma. We can assure you that it is not to occur. The Dark's wealth and power has been whittled away to the point that such a revival is highly unlikely. Our Earth allies are conducting a number of events across the globe. These events are basically interlocking so that the Dark Cabal's defeat is assured. The present talks are simply another one of these important puzzle pieces. Your freedom and prosperity are extremely close. We have used our technology to prevent any disaster, so the Dark does not initiate a delay of their surrender. In addition, Heaven gave us a very aggressive plan to pursue as a backup to what is presently transpiring. These events make it quite evident that some very exuberant celebrations are close to occurring. Namaste. We are your Ascended Masters. Our associates continue to meet with appointed representatives from the Dark Cabal. We have commanded in the blessed name of heaven that these chalks yield a true thanksgiving for humanity. Sacred laws demand that we properly sweep these misdirected beings into the dustbin of history. This divine task requires that our associates set forth a proven listing of their sins and vast misdeeds. This special list is to become evidence for what is being done. The dark, despite their grievous deeds, are still our human charges. Heaven demands that they be eased from power, to prepare them for what is to follow. Hence, each of them needs to be completely isolated from humanity, until the actual switch to full consciousness happens. This divine edict means that these chalks can only have one conceivable outcome, your inevitable victory. These series of meetings will determine the way that your new reality is formally introduced to you. The dark selected government leaders need to remain aware of their current position. We do not intend to give them any resources which can in any way hinder this process of change. Heaven is ready to accelerate those transformations now happening to your physical, mental and emotional bodies. The dark needs to fully realize that it is now cut off from certain resources that can lead to any new delays. Hence, we need to walk a blessed tightrope. This is what is happening across this magnificent globe. Very soon, you are to acquire resources that can truly alter your reality. Use these wisely. To assist you, remember there are resources available to you. These can only help you to achieve your sacred goals. We have obeyed and correctly used the edicts given to us by heaven. We ask you to do likewise. Be ever wise, and understand this fading reality. Use tools that you know, and be ready to use new ones that are to be gloriously given you. A new reality is forming. It requires the dark ones to be first dismissed and then isolated from you. These evil snakes can easily divest you of your blessings. Therefore, we need to push them aside, and then, give heaven's blessings to you. We are confident, Tier 1s, that given a new environment you are indeed destined to triumph. Your rising consciousness is living in a realm filled with dangers. We are eliminating them and are ready to begin the massive isolation of this vermin from you. We ask you simply to be patient, and be ready to manifest your sacred dreams. Hosanna! 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 Today, we continued our weekly message to you. We sincerely ask that you remain focused on success, and the isolating of these dark scalawags from you. Let the new reality manifest and permit us finally to properly and freely address you. Our grand victory draws ever nearer for us all. Know, Tier 1s, that the countless supply and never-ending prosperity of heaven are indeed yours. So be it. Salamat Gajan. Salamat Syrian for B1. And be enjoy.